People are still talking about Hasan Minhaj's speech, roast, whatever you want to call it, at the White House Correspondents Dinner. It was very poignant, lots of valid points, very funny. Called out, of course, President Trump, the administration, the media. Watch.
Now that you guys are minorities, just for this moment, you might understand the position I was in. And it's the same position a lot of minority kids feel in this country. And it's, you know, do I come up here and just try to fit in and not ruffle any feathers? Or do I say how I really feel? Because this event is about celebrating the First Amendment and free speech. Free speech is the foundation of an open and liberal democracy. From college campuses to the White House. Only in America can a first-generation Indian American Muslim kid get on this stage and make fun of the president. The orange man behind the Muslim ban. And it's a sign to the rest of the world. It's this amazing tradition that shows the entire world that even the president is not beyond the reach of the First Amendment. But the president didn't show up because Donald Trump doesn't care about free speech. The man who tweets everything that enters his head refuses to acknowledge the amendment that allows him to do it. Think about it. It's almost, what is it, 11? It's 11 p.m. right now. In 4 hours, Donald Trump will be tweeting about how bad Nicki Minaj bombed at this dinner. And he'll be doing it completely sober. And that's his right.
And that was his most serious tone within the speech.
Right.
You have to watch it because there were so many different jokes. We'll talk about our favorite jokes. And in fact, if you go to, we could probably include the link, but I saw that Hasan, he actually posted on his Twitter the full set. So you can either, we can post that link or you can go to Hasan's Twitter and you can see his full set. Well worth watching. I'll read some of the tweets and then we'll do our thoughts. So for the most part, the internet applauded him. So we have Charles Clymer, Hasan Minhaj nailed that shit, absolutely brilliant speech. Phil Hornshaw, man, it's hard to get over how absolutely ruthless Hasan Minhaj just was, so good. And there's a lot more, but first thoughts, 5 words or less.
Someone had to say it.
The minority reporters.
That Bannon joke. Okay, so there's a part, oh my God, there's a part where Hasan Minhaj was like, okay, you know, most of the administration's not here. Is Steve Bannon here? I do not see Steve Bannon. Do not see Steve Bannon. Not see Steve Bannon. I was like, oh my God, there's so many good parts there, but it's just great.
My favorite part is what came right before the clip that we played when he said, he was talking about the perception of the media and how everyone in the media is somehow held responsible for the worst people in the media. And he's like, that's what it feels like to be a minority in America. And it's like, you know, it is very representative of what's happening in the media. A lot of folks will cherry pick like who's the worst. And then it allows Trump to say things like fake news and this is bad. I thought that was a really good thing. And then he said MSNBC, he's like, oh, MSNBC, you think you just got your minority card? You did not, you did not.
Yeah.
So I think it's good.
It was good, it was good.
It was definitely great. There's so many great moments in that, but I just could not take my attention away from just his overall being up there. Remember when your mom would say, oh, you can dance, go out there, show when you can dance. And you're out there just like, okay, and then all of a sudden you start doing it, and then you get your confidence, then you're killing it. That's what happened. In his eyes alone, it was almost as if in his mind he was thinking, I cannot believe I'm saying this shit for the world to see, but you know what, I'm gonna do it. He would be like, oh.
True,
yeah.
Like he was blowing his own mind.
There was some burns. I mean, he let, like I said, it wasn't just obviously Trump and the administration, but the media. I mean, he let them have it.
So I did not watch it live. I watched Samantha Bee's full
great.
frontal.
Please tell us. Yeah.
It was great. It was awesome. It was, you know,
her White House not correspondent dinner,
not the
right?
White House Correspondents Dinner,
right?
And it calls out something like the White House Correspondents Dinner is the worst thing in the universe. It just is.
The worst.
Why?
Here's why. It's because they call it the nerd prom. And I also watched Veep this weekend. And in Veep, Julia Louis-Dreyfus is supposed to oversee an election and make sure that it's above board, but she also wants to open a library. And the guy who is making the election corrupt offers her money for her library. And she has a moral dilemma to say, do I take the money? Because that's terrible. The White House Correspondents Dinner is all the people who are supposed to hold the president accountable for all of his actions, but then they get invited to a dinner to like all glad hand and sit there while celebrities are all around, and they go, yeah, but I want to do that. It is just a group of bullshit. It's just a giant bullshit thing. And it has been made better recently by things like Stephen Colbert doing his, they hired Stephen and he did this whole bit right in front of President Bush.
Yeah.
And it got a lot of coverage. And it's been made better recently because President Obama was so fucking good at jokes.
His delivery was so good.
So that's what made it better. Like Wilmore, I did not like Wilmore's performance last year. It was just awkward. Hasan Minhaj, President Trump isn't there, so it's just a little different. But the idea of Trump saying, I don't want to go to that is like the right choice.
No, I don't think so at all.
It is. It's a bullshit night. I don't think so at all.
You can't. You can call it a bullshit night. You can still hold the president accountable and still participate in events like this, because at the end of the day, this is an event to honor the press. This is an event to honor free speech, and with that free speech, you get comedians going up there that are able to bash the president.
But it's not an event to honor.
President Trump should have gone. Every single president has gone since Reagan, when Reagan had a good excuse because he was shot.
Yeah, and even then his first words after getting shot were, oh, thank God I don't have to go to the White House Correspondents Dinner.
Listen, I'm not saying it's perfect, but I don't think that President Trump made the right decision.
No, listen, you can have like what it's supposed to be, but that doesn't matter if what it is something different. And the White House Correspondents Dinner is a bunch of celebrities. And don't get me wrong, there's hypocrisy in what President Trump did, because this guy goes to Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, and says, all those celebrities are getting together at the White House Correspondents' Dinner. They don't represent us. Celebrities, you've been in every fucking White House Correspondents' Dinner since it started. And we watch him like squirm through that one joke that's always about Trump and when he's not the president. And he just probably couldn't put up with having to squirm through every joke being about him.
But we're also talking about it now. Like Hasan Minhaj brought up some really valid points that we're also all talking about. Everybody was tweeting about what he said, how he called out the administration, how he did it, how he called out the media. But let's talk about Samantha Bee really quick, because I'm getting the immediate.
Right.
But finish your point, sorry.
Both these, not having Trump at it, and the Samantha Bee, I think the Samantha Bee more empirically is like, this is a benefit for a charity that protects journalists around the world.
Agree.
And you don't have to look very far to see journalists getting imprisoned. Like I worked at a network where two of our journalists were held captive by the North Korean government for 6 months. Like it happens, and it is a very rare thing to have freedom of the press in the world. But without Trump there, and without it being like this opportunity for like a president who is not thought of as like personable to kind of tell a joke or two and seem personable, like this freed it up to be just about journalism and just about these people who are getting together to kind of say, we have to hold, the politicians' feet to the fire because we're the fourth estate, and if we don't, who does?
Final thoughts?
Just that the power of comedy. I thought it was really cool when they would show the audience after he would say a joke and how they reacted to it, because guarantee there's tons of Trump supporters there, but they were like, this kid is onto something. What he's saying actually makes sense, And again, comedy does that. We all want to laugh, and sometimes the best way to get through to somebody is with a little funny humor.
Right, and at the end, he did, he really did. Not only did he bring up a lot of. It was very poignant, but at the end he did try and get the media to do better and to be better.
And enjoy.
So Hasan Minhaj, who I'm talking about.
Enjoy the comedy while it lasts, because if there's a writer's strike, say goodbye to John Oliver, say goodbye to Stephen Colbert, say goodbye to Fallon, and all of those.
Yeah. All right, so please continue the conversation, and we'll see you next time on Pop Trigger.